Plaintiff Maria Remington is suing her former roommate, Taranthia Carson, for medical bills and pain and suffering due to an assault. Maria says the plaintiff hit her repeatedly and then punched her 8-year-old son in the stomach. But Taranthia claims the plaintiff was having sex with their married landlord in exchange for rent. She's countersuing for lost wages and pain and suffering because she says the plaintiff attacked her.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Jeanine Pirro presiding. You may be seated.
Maria Remington is suing Taranthia Carson, and Taranthia is her former roommate. She is suing her for pain and suffering due to an assault, and there is a counterclaim against Maria for lost wages and pain and suffering due to an assault. So it seems like each of you is accusing the other of assaulting. Is that correct? All right, Maria, we'll start with you.
I moved into Chapel Hill. I was a college student going to UNC Chapel Hill.
That's a great school, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I went back to college because I'm a single parent. At the time, my kids were 8 and 11. My son was 8 and my daughter is 11. And I rented this condo. It was a 4-bedroom condo, and 2 bedrooms of the 4 bedrooms I rented, and the other 2 were vacant. And so at the end of September, I got a phone call from the landlord. She said to me that she wanted to see if I could meet someone who might be interested in moving into the apartment. She's another tenant of one of ours, and she's having issues with these other roommates.
Are you a student also, Taranthia?
No, I'm not. I wasn't a student at the time. Yeah.
But you had been living in a different apartment.
I was living in a different apartment. I moved downstairs.
Why did you?
Because it was guys, and I didn't feel comfortable.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, she was having issues with them. I guess the police were being called, and they were.
Were the police being called?
True. No.
How do you know the police are being called?
The landlord told me that the police were being called, and they were not getting along, and there were threats between each other. And so I actually have a police report on that phone call regarding that.
Let's see it.
Do
you want to answer the question again?
Yeah, I don't remember calling the police on there, not unless the guys, called it.
Taranthia stated she got into an argument with one of her roommates because they were being loud. Once I left, Carson called 911 and asked to speak to me again. I spoke to her over the phone. Not only did you speak to the police once, you spoke to them twice.
It's been 3 years.
That's enough.
Sorry.
Go ahead. All right, so what was it like living with her?
There really wasn't that many problems at all. The only problem that I had was sometimes there would be smells in the apartment that it wasn't like from cigarettes or anything, and I'm thinking it was like a drug use, like maybe she was smoking something, I don't know, kind of drug.
Drugs?
No, I do not. I don't know what she smelled. She always came in talking about of her smelling and seeing bugs. And every time I talked with her, her eyes were jumping all the time, and she was profusely sweating.
Okay, so at some point you start fighting with each other. What happens?
She's come to me on occasions about the landlord. She had back rent. The landlord told me 2 occasions, 2 or 3 occasions, have you seen Maria? Have you seen her? And I said, no. And he was like, well, she owes us 2 months back rent for these 2 rooms.
Did you owe back rent?
No.
And then they came to the house. I believe it was in September. They actually came to the house and confronted her and was like, where is our rent, Maria?
How would
Both
you know
of them
this,
came.
ma'am?
So
we need
you
this
were
rent,
there
or
when
you need to move out.
You were there when they were asking her for money.
Yes.
Were you ever behind in
one
your
time.
rent?
But you know what? How could she know that if she never moved in till October? And she said
No, I was here. It has August.
You moved in October.
That's a good point. You moved in October.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
Because the police report says you were living in September. You were living in C34. Okay, and then the other police report here states that she moved in October. She was living in October, and she's lying again.
I'm sorry, Taranthia. She's right.
Oh, she's right about that. I moved in. Uh-oh. Well, I have my lease here. I'm
about to tell you not to talk anymore because everything coming out of your mouth so far is not good.
It's looking real bad. Okay.
All right. Now, what did you 2 fight about? And by the way, let me ask you this. You say she's behind in the rent. Were you behind in your rent?
No, not
okay.
Yes. And
how do you know that?
How do I know that?
And don't give me this hogwash that you just did.
No, I'm sorry. She did tell me. She mentioned to me she was behind on rent.
Okay,
and
so how did she pay her out? How did she pay her
rent? And I saw her, one instance I saw him come in her room and he was leaving, and she was half dressed. She had on a t-shirt and underwear.
Who's
he was
leaving?
leaving.
Who?
The male landlord was leaving.
Okay, so you're saying that the landlord, is making visits to collect rent. Is
Apparently
that's
so,
your version?
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
How about some evidence? How about somebody hand up some evidence? Because I'm not sure who to believe here.
Okay.
What do you want to tell me? How did you get into a fight? Let's go there.
Yeah. Okay, so October 23rd, I came home from school with the kids, and it smelled just really, really bad. I don't know the drugs or things, smoking crack, or I don't know what you were doing.
No, that's what you do.
Okay.
Will someone get to the assault?
So anyhow, I asked her, what the smell was, and she ignored me. She didn't say anything about it. I just asked her again what the smell was, like if she knew if the landlord had come or anything, and she ignored me again. And she came into the kitchen, and when she came into the kitchen, and then I said to myself, I said it like to myself, but like out loud.
Yeah.
I said, I wonder why is that you were not getting along with the other roommates upstairs, and they were calling you names. I wonder why. And then she just came at me and started hitting me, and she started punching me in my face.
Did you have injuries?
Yes. And
what did you do?
She just started punching me in my face. And I was wearing glasses, and I just didn't want her to hit me in the face and break my glasses.
That's a lie.
And she just started punching me and kicking me, scratching my hair, scratching my head, clawing her nails in my head, and pulling my hair. And then because I had long hair, and so she grabbed me by the hair and threw me against the wall, and just kept punching me. And then she threw me on the ground, grabbed me again by the hair, and when I was yelling her to stop, I just please stop, and I could not hit. I did not even hit you.
Look at me.
I did not even lay one finger on her. I swear to God, may God strike me dead. I never put one finger on her.
What kind of injury did you have, and did you call the police? How did it stop, by the way?
So she finally stopped, and my little boy was right there, and she turned around and punched my little boy in the stomach.
I did.
Yes, you did.
How are you going to say I hit your child?
Yes, you did.
How are you going to say that?
Look at me.
That is a lie, Maria.
Carson.
So,
you have medical records, police report. Were the police called?
yes.
Yeah, the police were called.
So I got out and asked the neighbors to call the police.
Officers were dispatched concerning an assault. Contact was made with Maria Remington. Ms. Carson stated she was assaulted by Ms. Remington after they had an argument in the kitchen concerning the use of the washer and dryer. Mm-hmm. What's that got to do with the smell? Ms. Carson stated that as she was attempting to get Ms. Remington off her, when Ms. Remington's son began to hit her in the back. Okay, you got medical records for you or your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see it.
And this is her statement.
Just give it to me. I can read it. I, Taranthia Carson, was in the kitchen. Maria followed me in the kitchen, began to yell at me and question me about bug spray and how the kitchen smelled. I did not answer. She said, I see why your neighbor called you a... Maria stood in front of the kitchen door. When I opened the door, she pushed me with her arm. As I pushed her, she grabbed my robe. Then I hit her to get her off me. Then she fell into the wall first. Then her son was hitting me. Then I left the apartment. Okay, now what's interesting is that Taranthia, in your complaint, then this is your handwriting, I assume. This is your handwriting? Mm-hmm. All right, you give two different stories. When the police respond, you say it's about the washer and dryer, and in your written statement, you say basically it's about the bug spray and the smell.
It was about the washer and dryer.
You know what? You're losing your credibility with me.
I'm sorry.
All right, what else do you have? I'll get to you.
Okay.
What else?
I have where she beat me up, and they took pictures at the hospital.
They did. Good.
And the bills from the hospital.
Good. Edema of both lips and abrasions. Abrasion upper back right side, bruise upper left arm front. What are you telling me about your son, Maria?
That because she punched him in the stomach. The doctor was looking at him to see if he was okay.
Where's his medical record?
That would be it.
All right, go ahead, Taranthia. Talk to me.
Okay. On that day of the incident, she came knocking on my door. I said, what is it? And she said, well, I just want to know if you're using the washer and dryer today. I'm going to be using it all day. And I said, oh, okay, fine. So she went and she used it, I guess. And I came out maybe about 30 or 45 minutes later out of my room. I went to the living room to pull out some chicken that I had and I wanted to cook. So she comes out of her room before I get to the kitchen and she's following me. Have you been talking about me? Have you been talking about me? And as I'm looking at her, I can see her eyes are jumping again. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I ignore her. And so she says, I know you've been talking about me. I know you have, because I owe them rent money and I don't want you knowing my business about them. And I didn't say anything to her. I said, Maria, that's your business. And she gets in my face and she said, why don't you answer me? Why don't you answer me when somebody's talking to you? And she grabs me and she's clinging on to my robe. And I said, Maria, let me go. And she said, I see why them guys don't like you upstairs. You're using profanity. So I pushed her with my elbow to get her off of me because I'm quartered between the refrigerator door and the wall. So I pushed her off of me. When I pushed her off of it, she fell to the wall and fell to the ground. But her son did come out and he said, get off my mama, get off my mama, but that's all he saw coming out. He just saw me pushing me off of him. Okay. That's all he saw. And I did not touch her son at all. I did not put my hands on him at all. And that's when I left the apartment. I said, I got to get away from this situation.
All right. Did you have any injuries?
To be a monster.
Did you have any injuries?
Injuries? No, I didn't.
Okay.
And I don't think she did either and I did want to mention this, like a week prior to, it looked like she had been in a fight. Her eyes was jumping all the time, and it looked like she might have been in an altercation prior to.
Were you charged with a crime here?
No, I was not.
All right. Was anyone arrested, Maria?
No.
No.
So what you're telling me then is that you were defending yourself?
Yes, I was.
That she assaulted you?
Yes.
And you're also telling me that you didn't hit her son?
No, I didn't put my hands on that child.
The issue for this court is who is responsible for the assault, and was someone assaulted, or was it simply mutual combat? As far as this court is concerned, the defendant here has absolutely zero credibility with this court. The plaintiff has made her case out, not just by a preponderance of the evidence, but beyond a reasonable doubt. The bruises that the plaintiff has are consistent with someone who's been assaulted. She has bruises on both arms. She's being grabbed on both arms. She's got a bruise in the back of her neck, which means she's on the floor and she's being assaulted while she's on the floor. And it makes perfect sense that your 8-year-old was trying to pull her off you because she was on you while you were on the floor and your back was to her. Therefore, my verdict, unquestionably in this case, is for the plaintiff and against the defendant for pain and suffering due to an assault, $2,500.